So I was just sitting here, as usual, in my little house on my little street, playing some video games. But I was getting really bored. And I'm like, why am I getting so bored of these games? Well, it might be because they've been the same games that I've been playing for 15, maybe 10 years, some 20 years. And I just was realizing in this moment as I was looking at my desktop where I have all the icons, right, for my different games. Most of them came from 2005, 2007, maybe 2013. I mean, I was playing some Borderlands 2. And it just hit me, and I was thinking, they don't make good games anymore. And I think a lot of the people out there who are serious gamers, or whatever you want to call yourselves, have known this for some time. But it just doesn't feel the same that it used to. You get all these microtransactions and all this other bullshit in there, and everything seems like it's one big rip-off of some other game, and 90% of the game mechanics that's in the game. It just feels like playing mostly the same stuff with different skins and different microtransactions. And then that made me think of the way that so many companies right now in the video game industry are simply making money by remastering their old games. You look at the Oblivion remaster, that sold like 1 million copies or something in 24 hours at a price of $50. That's like $50 million right there. And we're seeing that more and more and more. It's like nobody can actually go through whatever kind of thought process that they used to use to make video games. Whatever metrics that they used to use are somehow lost to time, and now we're just getting a whole bunch of garbage. And the funny thing about that too is that I do see people at a much smaller scale, even smaller than indie, kind of ripping off the assets for some of these games and making their own versions with their own spin. When you talk about things like private servers or mods and stuff like that, people are actually doing that stuff, and they're actually making fun stuff. But the problem is that they don't own the IP. So the moment any of their stuff, their version of the game with reused assets, actually gets some traction out there in the public domain, the big corporation IP holder comes in and sues them into oblivion, and they're never heard from again. And that just seems like a problem to me, right? How is it that these people are not able to make anything original? Why is it so tough to start up nowadays? Well, and I'll tell you why that is because it's fucking impossible to do anything nowadays. It's impossible to get any traction, any momentum without all kinds of regulation and other kinds of bullshit and everybody getting on your back about everything and trying to bring you down to the ground. It just fucking sucks trying to do anything. And now with everybody trying to do some kind of a side hustle because nobody can make any kind of real money at their job anymore and actually afford anything meaningful, everything is now oversaturated as well. And it just fucking sucks. And as I was thinking about all that with the video game industry and how hard everything is, I also realized that there's actually some things that you can do that actually still make some decent money. They're just fucked up. I noticed that certain people who basically just suck the tit of the government, take unemployment, take some kind of disability, they're still doing somewhat okay. But that's not good for society to have a whole bunch of people basically just holding out their hand and not producing anything. I also noticed that anybody involved in gambling is doing really well. We're seeing these gambling companies like Kalashi and Polymarket just explode right now. Also probably because nobody can afford to fucking live at all right now. So they'd rather just gamble so that maybe they could afford something as opposed to just paying their bills and then still being broke on the other end of that. And then you have the pornography industry, which is also exploding right now. Seems like if you're a porn model or something like that, you can actually make good money. Another industry that's doing well, alcohol, more so among the older folk than us younger people, but they're still doing really well. And you see all that, and it's actually very concerning, right? These are all industries which really seem to do better during times of despair, when people really don't have much hope for anything and really don't have anything to look forward to. There's really not that much happening right now that's very exciting, that's very positive. It's just absolutely miserable right now. Like, let's all just say it. It's fucking miserable right now. It's impossible to do anything. It's impossible to aspire to anything. It's impossible to look forward to anything or to actually work for something, to have a vision and actually have a pathway to that vision. See, a lot of people want to say that younger people are lazy. A lot of people want to say that there's still a path out there. Well, where the fuck is it? You want me to become, a guy who runs a gambling ring that pimps out some women or something downtown, that goes to the government and says, oh, please, government, oh, please, government, please give me money. Please give me unemployment. Oh, my hip hurts. I need disability. Because seriously, where does that get us? When everybody's just producing garbage and they're gambling their life savings away, and those are the only people making any actual money in our society, what does that say? I mean, where's the value in that? Like, we have to actually produce value in society for things to keep moving forward. We're not doing that. Everybody that produces actual value, does actual services for people, produces actual products to make people's lives better, all those people right now are getting fucking shafted. And so when you do that to everybody that's actually producing things and making things better, how long is it before things become really shitty? Kind of like they're getting right now, where nobody can afford anything, nobody can look forward to anything. And I thought about all of this together now, and I asked myself another question, which is, if I can see this, how many other people can see this? I'm not Mr. Einstein, okay? I'm not Mr. 150 IQ. I'm gonna pull amazing insights out of the ether of nothingness, okay? If I can see this, then god damn it, our politicians better be able to fucking see this. The people with actual power and authority in this country should fucking see this shit. But they act like they don't. We all know they do, because they're all very, very good at telling us what the problems are. They're very good at acknowledging that, especially right before the elections. But then it seems like they just fucking forget the second they actually get their fat, retarded ass into an office seat, and they just forget about everybody that voted for them. And that's something I don't really think I need to point out. Although maybe it does need to be said, very matter-of-factly, because it seems like no matter how bad these people actually get, how little they get done, they keep getting into office. But that's just a little tangent. That's just a little micro rant. My real point that I wanted to make here about our politicians is this. Yes, they are crooks. Yes, they are stealing from us. Yes, they are probably causing mass death through arms trafficking and God knows what else in other places in the world. Yes, they are pissing off the world. And yes, they are likely fucking children. But you know what's actually more destructive than all of that combined times 100 in our society or in any society? It's called not solving problems. When you allow 100 different problems like we're seeing today to go unfixed, that's when we actually start having serious systemic societal issues at the macro scale, where the quality of life of every single individual person goes down the fucking shitter. And I want to be very clear here. I'm not trying to downplay the arms trafficking, the warmongering, the pedophilia, and all that, but I want to make it very clear that that is all just symptomatic behavior of a sociopathic piece of shit human being. The kind of human being that will lie to your face like all these people do all year long until they get elected, and then they will simply sit down and start making money for themselves and their own families and completely forget about the rest of us. Seriously, this isn't rocket science. And let me give you a few examples of problems that we're having now, right? Look at our children. Our kids right now, I mean, there is a massive issue with our education. It's been brewing for like 10 years now. These teachers don't even feel like teachers anymore. They feel like therapists. They feel like bodyguards. They feel like daycare workers at the high school level, where they're saying a lot of kids are barely even able to read. That's probably the biggest problem that's going on right now, because you think about 20 years from now, when those kids are running the show and the level of competency is less than what we see from a lot of people in third world countries, that's a fucking problem, right? And you know what? It's not getting solved. And I've been watching it on YouTube now for about 6 years. These people compile these TikTok videos of these teachers basically saying, this is my last day. This is completely fucked up. I got punched in the face. I got something thrown at me. I watched another student smoking crack in the back of the room. I told the administration's office. They didn't do anything about it. It's absolutely absurd. And that's exactly the kind of thing that's going to destroy our country in the long term. That's probably the biggest problem. How about another problem? A problem that we're actually seeing some action on right now, which is these massive corporations buying up all of the family housing. It looks like Donald Trump just came out and said, hey, let's actually not do that, because it turns out we kind of need families in this country. We kind of need people having kids. We kind of need to take care of those people, because if you think about the family unit, right, you have two parents that go to work and probably do productive things for society, and they're raising, on average, maybe 2 to 3 kids who will do the same thing in the future. So that's like your engine. That's like your core of your society right there. And why the fuck it takes so long to adapt in a way that functions better for those kinds of people is fucking beyond me. I mean, this whole thing with BlackRock not being able to buy houses now, that's literally just 1 out of 100 problems that needs to be solved. And I have a feeling, guys, that they're only saying stuff like that right now because I've noticed a few other things as well that have been said recently that we'll see if they happen, but those seem like placating remarks. Nothing ever really happens. Nothing ever really comes from any of that. They just say stuff like that. They just throw it out there to kind of douse the flames a little bit. Because right now, we're going to war with like 3 different countries. I mean, we got whatever's going on with Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine. Now we're getting involved with Venezuela. We're talking about we want Greenland. We got China, the sleeping fucking dragon, about to wake up because we just cut them out of their great Venezuela oil deals because we've been holding them back from having Taiwan, which I agree with doing, by the way. But boy, the great bald eagle certainly has seen better days. But I want to be clear here too, because yes, these politicians are pieces of shit, and it's very easy to hate on them and very easy to make up, witty remarks all day long and make yourself feel better. But what I also find a little bit disturbing is just how unwilling like 90% of people are to actually look at this information and then start making hard choices based on that information. You go out there into the world and you tell people, we might have a pedophile president. There's a lot of evidence for that. I've covered it on my channel. There's lots and lots of evidence for that. And they'll just look at you and be like, no way. There's no way, right? Or they'll accuse you of being a liberal, which at this point, honestly, if you're still doing the red versus blue shit, get your fucking head in the game. What is wrong with you? Fucking knock it off. These people want that to be the case. They want to use that stuff to completely distract us, completely keep us from going off the rails on them, because that's what we should be doing at this point. Stop it with the red versus blue, these social issues that don't matter when they're faced with the reality of potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people starving and being unhoused, or whatever else comes after that. Because at that point, they've got us all by the balls, which they very nearly do. And they can basically get us to do anything. I mean, can most people just kind of think about the power that exists out there and how much power the people have lost, the general populace have lost collectively, and have us do basically whatever the fuck they want us to do? Have you read a history textbook and seen the kinds of things that happen when state actors are successful in doing that kind of a thing? It's absolutely horrible, and it almost always results in millions of people dying. And I'm telling you, I feel like we're getting right about there. We're getting very, very close to seeing some stuff in this country that is a lot like what we see in other countries. Complete authoritarianism. It's not good. You look at the flock cameras. How the fuck did we get flock cameras put up all over the country, even in the smallest of towns, in like the last 6 months? Why are we using the National Guard inside of cities so much? Are our police departments really that ineffective now? And why are we doing all kinds of internet censorship? Why do I have to give my ID to YouTube now if I want to watch a movie with ads? This is getting out of control, and it's getting out of control really fucking fast. And you want to look at the Epstein thing, and you want to look at how these people probably did fuck kids? What do you think their moral compass is? What do you think these people aren't willing to do for money? There's nothing they're not willing to do for money. They will literally take every last thing that you have, and they still will not be happy. They'll put you to work in a labor camp or something. That's how this kind of stuff usually goes. But you know what? It really does seem like most of the population doesn't want to look at the scary information and potentially make some scary choices on how to fix it. Most people just seem to want to gamble, watch pornography, drink their problems away, smoke a bunch of pot, generally just go down this hedonistic, apathetic route that will inevitably lead to this country getting completely destroyed. But you know what, guys? Here's the silver lining when it comes to all that stuff. Anybody who's participating in that stuff can just stop at any point in time. Anybody who doesn't understand what's going on right now can just start learning at any point in time. And it really doesn't take much of an investment to look at what's out there. Maybe even watch some YouTube videos. Go to CoffeeZilla. Go to Penguin Zero. Even the guys that normally do like gaming commentary who have started talking about this stuff are doing a good job of covering it. They will show you straight up. This whole thing with Epstein, for instance, is a complete and utter fucking cover-up. We know this now. And we know that it was very, very likely that a lot of people in the government were fucking kids. This isn't rocket science. Thank God it's not. This is actually very simple, straightforward human nature, where people are born with certain predispositions for younger people, and they're now trying to cover it up because we all know that's sick and disgusting. It's literally that simple. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. It's not that hard. What might be harder is what comes next, which is what do we actually do about it? And to that I would say, I think it's just as simple as cracking open those Epstein files, baby, and seeing everybody that's involved. Not just with abusing children in the past, but people who have continued to abuse children, because this is like a pathological, chronic disease of the mind where they never stop abusing children, but also the people who have helped to cover it up, the people who have looked the other way to further their careers or to make money off of it. Because when you look into the Epstein story, there's a huge money component to it as well. And it even goes beyond just simply banking with Epstein. We see a lot of laundering. We see a lot of people getting paid to do certain things. There's the 4 co-conspirators we know that were all paid tons of money. They're still out there somewhere. They could tell us all who the fuck actually was participating in the child abuse or at any level. There's so much we could do with that actual information, which, by the way, that's why they're not releasing it. There's a lot that can be done, and I feel like we can turn this ship around very, very quickly. I mean, you look at what's happening with the housing market right now, with this proposed policy that's really just intended to placate the public. But they're talking about not allowing large corporations to buy single-family homes as speculative investments anymore. That's great. But I guarantee you, once again, I'll say it, they're only doing it because of all the outrage for all the problems that we're having right now. They're only saying that because of that. So we need to call in. We need to keep pushing on that. I don't think people realize how quickly things can start to change when those people actually start becoming more afraid of the public than they are of the people who give them money or whatever it is that's going on at that level. I think also whoever it is that's got some blackmail material over their head, obviously they're trying to appease those people as well. But I don't think it takes very long, guys, if people just stop doing this fucking all this stupid shit with the gambling, the pornography, or just leeching off the government, and just start looking at what's going on and just start saying, hey, this is fucked up. This is not okay, and it's very obvious at this point that we have a bunch of crooks leading this country, and that's why all of us are so broke, because your tax dollars are getting laundered through the government and all the bullshit that we're doing in order to launder it. That's also causing more problems, is taking away your money, and it's inflating your money too. People don't realize that as well. You pay 15 to 25% or whatever based on your employment status, whether you work for a corporation or you're self-employed or whatever. But you also are now being taxed heavily in terms of inflation. Go on Zillow. Look at the housing prices over the last 10 to 15 years. Everything has fucking doubled. Has your income doubled? Do you think the income of most people has doubled in that same period of time? The answer to that is obviously no. I'm not getting paid $60 an hour. I can guarantee you that. But you know what? I should be. Based on the way inflation has gone over the last 15, 20 years, that's where most people should be at by now. But nah, that's not what's happened, because that's an easy thing to do. It's easy to just keep printing money, keep inflating the currency, keep taking people's income, but not actually give them a raise in return. And you know what that means, right? That means you're being stolen from. This is theft. This is not normal. You're not seeing any kind of return on investment, which is what your tax dollars should be considered as. You should be seeing a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. You should be seeing a greater than 1-to-1, because the government should be using this money more effectively, right? Because they're the people with the authority and the power to actually get things done. They should be building infrastructure. They should be cleaning up our schools. They should be cleaning up our communities. They should be actually doing what needs to be done in an effective manner, mind you that as well, because they also seem to spend way more money than they ever should for very simple things. I mean, what was there, like a $2 million bathroom in a park they put in California? What the fuck kind of bathroom costs $2 million? But it's just being wasted. And on the back end, you and I both know that somebody's collecting money off of that through some shady back deal anyways. But that's just government culture at this point. They're all crooks, and nobody's holding them accountable, so of course, they just keep stealing. But we all know this, okay? We just need to do something about it. And I think the best thing that you can do as an individual right now is just learn about what's happening. Stop trusting the news. Start looking at independent journalism. Start learning the facts. They've released a whole bunch of stuff about Epstein. That's a great place to start. I personally believe the whole Epstein thing would put away all of the worst people in that whole sphere up at the political and billionaire/elite level. I think that would be a great place to start. We crack that bad boy open. We get all the evidence to arrest maybe 1,000 or more people that are really problematic in our country, that are not just in politics creating problems, but are also in the media and other places causing problems. We could put all of them away with real hard evidence in which they're all linked back to some role in the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile network / global cabal of arms trafficking, blah, 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 whatever else kind of evil shit it gets into, and then we could all move the fuck on and actually do something productive in our lifetimes in this country. So that's it for now. This video's gone on long enough, so I guess I'll see you in the next video.